We're going to start looking at saddle finishes. So basically when our partner knows what to do and when they don't know what to do. So we'll start with what to do when our partner hasn't necessarily done leg locks. So you basically need two different strategies depending if they've done leg locks or not. So in general, when you're in saddle, right, my partner should be thinking about hiding his heel. So by hiding his heel, I mean like turning his knee in this direction, so it's difficult for me to elbow strike his heel. Let's do a little leg group. So we're here, right? If my partner just like opens his knee up in this direction, it's just instantly I can catch the heel, right, and finish. If he turns the knee in that direction, okay, I have some work to do to try and catch the heel. And whilst I'm trying to gain angle to try and catch the heel, he can always be following me and we just like continually circle and I'm never going to be able to catch the heel. So if someone just gives you the heel hook and they turn the knee the wrong way, you can just like count that as an easy win and take the heel hook. So I'm going to start with both legs, right? I'm going to have both legs controlled and I'm going to be stepping foot to foot and I have my elbow between the two legs. So my partner should be thinking about turning his knee in that direction, right, to hide the heel. But if he's turning it in the opposite direction, okay, sometimes they could be thinking about trying to escape, right, trying to push this knee, lift their hips off the floor, so try and push this knee this way and then free the bottom of their knee, right? So it's a pretty risky strategy, but it can work if it's really sweaty. So you need a strategy to deal with that. So I start with my elbow between the two legs. This stops my partner from just shrimping away, right? If he just shrimps away, okay, my elbow between the two legs is going to stop that from like being successful. So I'm here, I'm holding inside of my partner's knee, okay, and he's turning this way. So I can feel that he's turning in that direction. I'm just going to push this knee to the outside of my other knee, okay, and then from here, as I release, I'm going to look for the heel here, and as I release this leg with my right hand and kick with my right leg, I'm going to go straight to capturing the heel on the second leg. Okay, I can control the leg and then just finish right there, flaring my knees and bridging. Okay, so like most of the time against people who are turning in this direction, it's not going to be very difficult to capture the heel, right? If they're turning in that direction, right, you can literally just let go, pummel your hand to the inside and capture the heel. There's loads of methods that would work, but probably the most like watertight method would be you're here, you have your elbow between the two legs, they're turning in that direction, okay? I want to start to bring my knee in between the two legs, okay? And now I'm going to look for this heel with my free hand. So as soon as I release this leg, see I open my hands, I kick, I'm straight onto the second heel, okay? And there's no way for him to hide it. Now I connect my butterfly grip, I'm going to flare my knees and bridge to get the finish. Okay. Okay, so this next move is a leg lace finish from saddle. I would say this is the least risky saddle finish you can go for because you don't have to let go of the second leg. It's also pretty effective, but I guess it's more strength dependent than the others. Like good guys aren't really going to get caught by this, right? Because it's pretty easy to escape if you know what you're doing. But again, for guys that don't know what they're doing, it's like a very safe option where you don't have to let go of the second leg and you can still get a pretty strong finish. So again, I'm going to start in saddle. I have my elbow between my partner's two legs. Okay, when I'm going to do this, I'm going to start moving my shoulders further up my partner's leg, okay? So as long as I'm holding the second leg and pinching my knees, it's going to be difficult for my partner to just scoot out and free their knee, even if I don't have my elbow tucked between the legs. Okay, so I'm going to start moving myself up closer and closer to my partner's knee. Okay, so from here, especially if my partner's decided at any point to turn to that side, okay, it's going to make it much easier for me to go for this submission. So I'm going to release my grip on the knee, and I'm going to go for the heel first, and I'm going to bring my elbow inside the heel. So when I let go of this Achilles grip I have, there's only a small amount of time between me holding one leg to holding the second leg, okay? I want my elbow as far down the cross as possible. So if you imagine his legs were crossed further up, it would be more effective finish. I'm already holding the heel here, okay? I'm gonna underhook and then shuffle my hand to the inside of my bicep, okay? So the way this works is I wanna make it as much of a knee bar as possible, right? I don't wanna just make it a pain submission on the calf. So the more I can turn my partner's knee in to face my hips, the better. So my partner's knee is always going to be facing basically directly away from his toes, right? So the more I can turn his heel and toes, the more effective my finish is going to be. So I'm going to try and tuck my partner's toes behind my ear, and I'm going to pull this heel as much as possible. If you can even get your whole wrist behind the heel, that's going to make it a stronger finish. Now I'm going to stomp down with both feet, okay? And I'm going to bridge to get a finish, okay? And basically it's just going to hurt one of your partner's hamstrings, okay, and it's also going to be painful on their calf. Okay, so one more time, we're going to start in saddle, move back a little bit. So we start here, right, I can feel my partner is turning in the wrong direction. I wouldn't try this move if my partner's turning in the opposite direction. So let's go in the opposite direction quickly. Now let's say I'm here, and I try going here. Even if I manage to get all my grips in, right, if I'm here, I just won't be able to bridge properly on the front of my partner's knee to get a finish, right? It won't even really be painful on their calf. So it's a much better option when your partner's turning in the opposite direction. So we're here, I'm moving my shoulders far up the leg, Okay, I dip my elbow between the two legs, and now I'm gonna hold this heel and pull it towards me. Okay, I shuffle my hand out, take a really deep underhook grip like a rear naked choke. Okay, I'm gonna hold my tricep, and I'm holding the heel, and I'm tucking the toes, okay, behind my ear. From here, I'm twisting the heel in one direction, whilst my knees go in the opposite direction, okay, and then I'm gonna bridge to get a finish at the end. Okay, so your partner should feel it on one of their hamstrings, as well as on their calf and the front of their opposite shin. Okay, so for this next move, our partner's just basically is aware of heel hooks and he knows how to hide his heel. So we basically need a better strategy to expose the heel without them being able to turn out as soon as we let go of the second leg. So let's say I start with this leg, okay? I have my partner's second leg as well, right? If he knows what he's doing, he's always thinking about turning this knee in this direction. So anytime I let go of this leg, okay, which is blocking me from attacking the leg, he's just turning the knee. Now I can use his second leg to pummel behind my leg, start to kick free, okay? And whilst I'm circling, whilst we're both spiraling at the same time for me to catch his heel, he's just kicking himself free, and eventually I'm going to lose the knee that I want. Okay, so what I need to be able to do is stop him from turning. So by holding this leg, I'm preventing him from turning, right? It's hard for him to just like continue rolling. So I need a way to stop this leg from being free whilst also splitting the legs, okay, and having control of this leg, right? So I don't want him to turn, but I still want control of this, okay? And I have to use essentially at least one of my hands to expose this heel. So I'm going to start in this saddle position again. Okay, I'm foot to foot. I have my hand on the top of the knee. So I want to basically bring my hand as far around as possible above the line of his knee. Okay, and I want to pull my elbow tucked to my hip. So if he tries to turn now, obviously it's very difficult, right? Both the knees are pointing in the wrong direction. So I have my elbow tucked between his legs. It's a good start position. So from here, I'm going to bring my elbow to the outside of my legs and just put it onto the floor. So if my partner forces me to roll in this direction, so if he pulls me over, go for it. Okay, I'm just going to let him pull me over, and I'm going to sprawl, okay, whilst triangling my legs. So you see I was foot to foot, I go to triangle my legs and I sprawl whilst maintaining my grip above my partner's knee. Okay, so this is where I want to end up, and that would be an ideal way of getting there. So if my partner just rolls me into that position, that's what I want, right? If my partner kind of knows what I'm doing, so if he knows that I want to get to top position so I can crush his bottom knee while shuffling my hands, then it'll be a bit more savvy about it. So I bring my elbow to the floor. I can't really come up here, right? You know, even if you have good mobility, sometimes it's difficult to just force your way up, especially if your partner times his knee coming open, right? If I try and come up and he just opens his knee, I'll never really get there. So it's going to be very difficult to come on top. So I can try and rock forwards and backwards and come on top. So if your partner, again, doesn't really know what they're doing, you can try that, just rocking and coming on top. And sometimes you can make it on top, put your head to the floor, okay? But for better guys who are timing opening their knee to push you back, okay, you're going to have to let go your Achilles grip and post your hand on the floor. So I have my elbow on the floor, right? It's hard for my partner to scoot out and free that knee. So if he just does a shrimp move in that direction, yeah, it's going to be difficult, right, whilst my elbow's on the floor. Whereas if I'm here and I don't have my elbow between his legs, he can eventually just shrimp and free his knee. Yeah, and it's going to come out. So the only time I'll release that elbow from between the legs is if I'm putting it on the floor here. Now he can't get his hip there to the floor to be able to shrimp free. So I'm holding it up on the outside of the knee. I'm going to rock forwards and backwards. If I feel like I still can't come on top, I'm going to post my hand on the floor very close to his shin there, right? So it's still, I've still got pressure pushing in towards me on his shin, and I can use it to come up towards him. So my head position isn't going in this direction. I'm trying to go towards him with my head as much as possible. So I'm keeping looking at him. So if at any point he decides to start to hand fight here, okay, let's say he's going to hand fight, yeah, pulling this arm off, for example, okay, I can look to take an underhook and start to pass the guard, okay? If he's hand fighting with his other hand, for example, and posting on his elbow, yeah, I can look to try and drag this arm across and then look for the back take, okay, and get to my partner's back. So we're just doing leg locks here. So for now, our partner basically isn't really addressing our hand here. So this hand is key, right, to stop this leg from being freed too early. So I'm posting on the floor. I start to come up and I'm looking at my partner, okay, and I basically want to go towards him as much as possible, okay, and now I'm going to so go from here, stomping on my legs, to try to cross my legs. So I bring this knee in tight, I put my head on the floor, I go back to my Achilles grip, now I'm going to triangle my legs and sprawl. So I'm pushing my knees towards my partner's hip, my hand here is staying on the bottom, just above the knee, and my head is on the floor, and I have my straight footlock grip. So it's very difficult for my partner to turn free here, okay, and it's very difficult for him to really do anything. So from here, I want to split the legs, right? My partner's crossing his legs the correct way.
So it's difficult for me to just go for the original heel. So I'm going to take my left hand all the way out, and I'm going to go fingertips first by his knee, and I'm going to go elbow deep with my grip. I now circle the grip around so I can get a C grip on the back of his Achilles of the secondary leg, and I can put that elbow on the floor so I can jump my head between his legs without having to release this right hand. So I jump my head between his legs, okay, and from here I still have pressure on his knee, right? So if he tries to extract that knee, it's very difficult, okay? From here, my partner's going to be hiding his second leg. So if he just keeps his foot under my armpit, let's say, so bring your foot back, I can just catch it, right? I can just catch the heel. But if he's hiding his leg down here, it's very difficult for me to capture the heel. So, you know, if it's over here, I can't really get my elbow around the toe. So I'm going to capture the big toe, and I'm going to start to tension the big toe. Now with my free toe here, I'm going to push off the floor, and I'm going to bring my thumb from one side of the foot to the opposite side of the foot. Okay, I'm still pushing on, like, to pressure the big toe so he can't really hide his heel. And as we roll, I'm going to punch this hand all the way through. So the sole of the foot is trapped along my forearm, and then I'm going to capture the heel. Okay, as we continue to roll, I'm going to relock my triangle, push the second leg away, and then connect to my wrist. And then from here I can finish flaring my knees and bridging. Okay, so one more time. We're here, foot to foot. I have my partner's second leg as well. Okay, I have my grip on the knee. I'm not trying to finish this straight footlock, right? So I want my chest as far up the shin as possible for better control. My goal with this hand is to stop my partner's knee from opening up, right? If he's able to open his knee up or down all the way, eventually his heel is going to slip, right? Then he can hold his leg with two hands and just pull it towards his chest. Go for it. He just rips it towards his chest and it frees, right? So I want to have this hand on the knee at all times so I can keep it in tucked like that. So if he tries to free his leg now, obviously it's just not going to work. Okay, so I put my elbow on the floor. I start to try to rock up. Ideally, I could just rock on top, but my partner's blocking me by flaring this knee, right? So it's difficult. So I'm going to post my hand on the floor, and I start to come towards my partner, getting my knee closer and closer to my bottom foot. Okay? Once I've got my knee right next to my bottom foot, I'm going to put my head on the floor, recapture my Achilles grip, and triangle my legs and sprawl. Okay? So now I let go of my Achilles grip. Once I have control, I'm going to shoot my hand. Let's say my partner's crossing his legs. I'm going to shoot my hand fingertips first, all the way through, so I go elbow deep. Once I go elbow deep, I split the legs with my elbow and C-grip the secondary leg. Once I have my C-grip here, my elbow comes to the floor and I jump my head between the two legs. Okay? Once I have my head between the two legs, it's difficult for my partner to recross his legs, but he can hide his heel by pointing his toes out in this direction. So if I try to capture the leg, my elbow can't reach his toes. So I'm going to capture his big toe with a C-grip again, and I'm going to push it in this direction with a straight arm. Okay? So I still can't reach it, right? So I need to force my partner to roll a little bit. So I'm going to roll onto my shoulder. Now my thumb comes over the top. I'm going to punch it through so I can catch the heel on the end of my wrist. Okay, as we complete the roll, I'm relocking the triangle, pushing my partner's second leg away, and then connecting my wrist to wrist grip. I can turn my grip around, flare my knees, and bridge and finish. Okay.
Okay, so for this next one, my partner's aware of turning to hide his heel, right? But he overturns. So that means that his bottom knee passes past his top knee. So for example, we're here, right? If my partner's really turning as much as they can, okay, you see how this bottom knee is passing in front of the shin of this top knee. Okay, so this is what I want. This would be ideal, right? Especially if they don't know what's going on, it's going to work very well. So I'm going to move my hand from the hamstring over the top, and I'm going to move my second hand far through, and I'm going to get an S grip. If at any point my partner turns his knee back the way it was coming, okay, I'm not going to go for this move. I'm going to go back for the leg lace, but we're going to do that in a sec. So for now, my partner continues turning their knee in that direction, right? So it gives me the opportunity now to move his legs away, and I'm going to clear this outside leg with my outside leg. I don't want to clear the leg that I have in saddle, right? Because then I'll have nothing. But if I trap this leg between my legs and take my partner back, I can have both my partner's legs trapped, okay, just with my legs. And from here, there's basically no escape. Yeah, it's very tight on the calf, right? If I squeeze my legs here, if your partner has big calves, they're just going to tap. Otherwise, you can look for the heel, right? There's no way for him to hide his heel here. If he tries to turn his knee, yeah, that's it really, because his hips are locked in this position, right? So there's no way for him to turn that bottom knee. So you can capture the heel hook and bridge and finish. Okay, so what's going to happen a lot of the time when you do this a couple times to your partner, they realize what's happening, right? So scoot your hips around this way a little bit more. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So we're here. I get my deep grip. Okay, I try to clear this leg, and he turns his knee back to face me. So now, you know, as I do this, I'm going to lose that knee. If I clear this, I'm going to lose
this second knee here. So as he turns his knee back to face me, it gives me what I want for the leg lace. Right, so I'm just gonna slide my elbow further down. I'm gonna capture the heel, and I'm gonna pinch the toes behind my neck, and then I'm gonna turn and get the finish on the normal leg lace. Okay, so it's like a two-part move, right? Either you go for your Cummins trap, which would be ideal, right? This is basically there's no escape to that position other than rolling out of bounds. He's turning this way, I clear and lock the triangle. Okay, that's one. Or as I'm clearing to lock the triangle, he turns his knee back to face me. It gives me really good opportunity to slide up to the top of the heel, hold the heel with my free hand, hold my tricep here, and then I'm turning to get a finish. Okay, so my knees are going in one direction and my hands are going in the opposite direction to make his bottom knee point towards me, so that when I bridge, I've got knee bar pressure on his hamstring. Okay.